This Baseplan Presents video features how to improve your ready for rent metrics with mobile returns, focusing on the following areas: viewing equipment pending a return on a mobile device, processing a return on a mobile device, recording damage and fuel on a mobile device, processing a payment on a mobile device, searching for rental contracts and processing a return.
Okay, so I'm currently logged into Baseplan Enterprise. And when we talk about actually improving our ready for rent metrics, what we're really saying is if something has been called off rent or terminated or off hired, we want to figure out how long it's going to take for us to actually get that piece of machinery to be ready for rent for the next rental, or even just at least be available for other people to pick that particular machine. Now, a lot of times these delays can happen because the machine's in the yard, but the piece of paper with the rental contract and the pickup ticket is sitting on someone's desk, and they're working through that pile. They've manually got to go through the system in terms of collecting information, making sure they're ticking everything off, and then going through the Baseplan Enterprise system itself to reconcile everything. So what we want to do is we want to actually implement something where we can actually remove that paper aspect and get the pieces of equipment ready for rent by doing mobile returns. So if we just have a look at this rental contract that I've got already set up, I've got something out for Valara's construction, and there's this particular excavator, and we can see that the status of the contract is still current, but it's being called off rent or off hired. So it's basically waiting for somebody to go out and pick the piece of equipment up. So the customers called in and they said they don't need the machine anymore. Can someone please come collect it? Now, what's going to happen is once we actually update the status via a termination, so when we terminate something, the status updates to off rent or off hired, that's also going to trigger in our mobile application that we're expecting the machine to arrive back at our particular location. So if I just switch over to my mobile device now, I can go into this Baseplan Mobility application. And again, this is going to give me three different areas. It's going to give you my overdue items, my list, and my unallocated. Now, the unallocated is things that we're expecting to be done by a certain team within a location, whether it be an inspection or maybe it might be a return, and it hasn't been allocated for someone to actually complete yet. Now, what's going to happen is once that termination has been triggered, the app's going to expect that this particular rental contract with that particular list of equipment is going to be in the location. So we can actually click on this tick over here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us the details of the rental contract itself. We can drop this down and see all the contact information, the person's phone number as such. We can see the start and return expected off call off rent date, and we can also see the serial number, the status, and also the piece of equipment. We can then start drilling into this by clicking on the arrow here, and then start looking at more information. We might want to start recording some notes or some photos against the rental contract, but more importantly, we can actually start recording. Maybe we want to adjust the termination days, so we don't want to we want to take one day off the rental. Maybe we want to update the meter reading when the machines come back. Maybe we want to bill some fuel as well while we're standing in front of the customer potentially. So I can actually update this to say 1700. We're going to be billing liters, for example. It'll show me the rates on the particular contract as well. It'll also allow me to start recording damage. So if I had the right security and we wanted to allow our yard staff that are doing the returns to record damages as well, we can do this, or we can do it at a later stage in Baseplan Enterprise as well. So I can say it's going to be $50 and there was damage to door. And then again, if I have the right security, I can actually dispose and sell the equipment that they have damaged to the customer as well. Maybe the common scenario might be that they're meant to return 15 bits of fencing and they only record 14. We can actually quickly sell and put the amount in here and then include that as part of the final invoice as well. Now, all I do here is hit confirm. And you can see here it then ticks to say that we're actually returning this item, and confirms the total amount based upon the breakdown of what's actually going to be charged to the customer. Now, all I do is hit confirm, and this is actually going to look into Baseplan Enterprise and actually update the status as returned automatically. And it'll give me the option to also process a payment while I'm in front of the customer as well, whether it be on an account, whatever the scenario might be. And if once I confirm this, this will actually post the rental contract itself. Now, if I hit skip, we're expecting that someone's going to go through and review this information that the yard person has actually just conducted. But the most important factor is here that the equipment will now be available for rent for other people. So really, it's now about us actually processing the information that the yards person has entered, but the other rental coordinators can then start putting this out on rent. So if I hit skip, we'll just confirm that it's going to move off that list now. And if we went back into Baseplan Enterprise now and just did a refresh, we can see here it's done a return automatically, and it's also pulled through the damage charge that we've done on the mobile device, and it's also going to pull through any diesel that we're going to charge as well as part of that process. Now, that was on the assumption that we've done a termination and someone's going to go pick up the piece of equipment, is going to come back. We also might have a scenario where maybe the customer's just turned up at the particular location and they want to return it on the fly as well. So if we just go back into the app, again, we can do the same sort of scenario, except you can see here that maybe we don't already have the line to return. So we need to then start searching for the particular contract that the customer is referring to. So the customer's turned up, maybe it's a piece of equipment or a serial number they want to search for, but I can actually go down the bottom here and start searching, or even better, scan the pieces of equipment and it will tell me what to do next. We'll have a future video that actually talks about how you can scan QR codes within Baseplan as well. But if I hit search, I can basically search for a piece of equipment, or I can search for a particular contract. And I've got a few different filters that I can put in here. But if I was looking for a particular contract number, so if I just say 106287, for instance, and hit search, you can see here that it's going to give me the same sort of layout, where it's going to give me the details of the contract, and I can actually then start drilling in to the particular contract itself and seeing the relevant information. But maybe the customer is requesting that we actually process a return, and we can see on the bottom left here that we can actually process the return in front of the customer without having to do a termination or a call of rent as such. So I hit return, and it takes us to the same sort of process where we can actually start recording that same information that we're looking at just before. So it just gives you more flexibility around actually doing those different types of returns that might occur as well. Now, the final piece of this is obviously, because we've done a return, the next step is really for someone to do a formal inspection on the piece of equipment. So if I was to actually go back to this main screen here, we can actually see on my list an inspection's been created automatically for that particular excavator. And it's going to show me it's a return, and it basically wants me to go through and start completing that. And that might be the final stage for us to actually maybe charge some damage against the particular rental contract, or actually make it available for rent for the next particular item. Hopefully this has given you some insight on how you can actually improve your metrics when it comes to ready for rent. And if you have any questions or ideas on future topics, please leave a comment in the section below.